Hey guys, welcome to Launching Their Learning, Students Setting Their Own Goals. One of the most neglected pieces of education is creating independent learners through the vein of having students set their own goals. Oftentimes, we will give them content, reviews, videos, things of that nature. We'll set up opportunities for them to learn, but we never scaffold the process of setting goals so that the learning can happen in a more efficient manner. So students can be a little more metacognitive about their own learning. Here are 3 templates that you can use with your students to help begin this process. The first one is borrowed from Catlin Tucker, Student Goal Setting, Why, How, What, and you start here in the middle. Why are you setting this goal? Why do you feel this goal is valuable? And so here you're kind of hitting on the student's self-motivation. The next step in this conversation, or you can give them this template, addresses the how. How are you going to work towards this goal? So what behaviors are you going to have? So we're moving from the motivation piece to the action piece. And then finally, what will success look like and feel like? And it's really important for not just K through 12 students, but just any human being to imagine what success looks like and feels like, so that once they arrive at that moment where they have met their goal, they recognize that they've met their goal. Pretty simple template. This is probably going to be used in the elementary levels, maybe middle school. And of course, if you want to add extra layers to this, please do so. Moving on to a little more complex approach. This is probably middle school, high school kind of stuff, but if you're familiar with SMART goal settings, that means that your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. What I enjoy about this template is it walks the student or the person through the entire process and really has them reflect on not only what is the goal, what does it feel like when you're achieving it, and then what mile markers were there as you were getting closer to achieving that particular goal. So here, obviously, I would have a conversation with students about their particular goal, whether it's closing a gap, addressing a particular TEK, doing better on the next test, something fairly specific. And then I would just have the students fill this in so that they take ownership over it. I would not do this for the student, of course, but ask them, what do I want to achieve? And be very specific about it so that when they do achieve it, they recognize the achievement. How are you going to know when you've reached your goal? So what are the metrics? Are you looking to make an 80 on the next test instead of a 75? Are you looking to better understand a particular TEK or content about the Civil War or Rise over Run in math? Is this goal realistic? And if it's not realistic, then maybe you need to take a step back and chunk up the goal so that one singular goal maybe really becomes 2 or 3 goals that stair step in the same direction. Is it relevant? So what's the whole point? How does that lead to my own personal self-fulfillment? And then when? This is really one of the most important pieces. If you don't put a timestamp on your goal setting, then you can kind of linger aimlessly for a period of time without ever achieving that goal. And then as far as this template, this handout is concerned, if you go down a little bit further, it asks you to rewrite the goal in student language, track your goal process. Are you on track? What are some obstacles? What are some barriers? So this is a nice barrier analysis. And then what are some milestones? So as they're getting closer and closer to their goal, what are some things that they have achieved that has realistically gotten them closer to that particular goal? And then the target date, did you reach it on time? And finally, the last one, this is going to be done like on a week-to-week basis. And so this particular template asks you to scaffold some of your questions and processes. So on the left over here, you're going to be looking at a skill or a standard. So you can throw in a TEK here or a particular study habit. The next column is all about self-assessment. Like, when do you want to reach this goal? Here you're actually asking your students to upload evidence, like maybe pictures of artifacts that show that the students are working on their goals. And then finally, some reflection on the process. What worked, what didn't work. And then up here at the top, just some scaffolding questions for the teachers to ask the students, or to help the students walk through the process. Which skills are you developing? Describe your process. And if they don't have a process, maybe share with them the SMART goal approach. Where do you think you are in relation to mastering these skills? Is it beginning, developing, proficient, or mastery? What I love about this is that the students are self-assessing. So maybe at the beginning, in this particular TEEK, students would rate themselves a 2 in developing, and then as they're reflecting in this final column, they may put down a 3 or a 4, and that's going to show progress to the students themselves. And then always, if they do give themselves a 3 or 4 or whatever at the end, upon reflection, ask them to substantiate. So why did you give yourself a 4 instead of a 2? And have them identify specifically what they recognized as progress. And then finally, what are you still struggling with? If you gave yourself a 3, what's keeping you from being at that 4 level? And then maybe that can be incorporated into the next set of goals.